So here we are looking at the Rome Agent Rocker 2016, which has had a tremendous overhaul. And it, let me just adjust myself here. It has me wondering, why do they even have the Agent camber anymore? This isn't even called Agent Rocker, and now you can see why. It is camber from tip to tail. There is nothing rocker about the Agent Rocker except for a very passive rocker between the feet. So you can see there's bows, so it gives you a much more dynamic feel edge to edge. It's very much like Mervin's C3 BTX, and I'm surprised that they're both doing the same thing, but maybe, you know, everybody redoes everything, everybody shares everything for the most part in the industry, so who really cares? What does matter is how this board rides, and it's a great ride. We love it. It's perfect for that aggressive all-mountain freestyle rider who loves that camber feel but wants something a little different, wants something a little more snappy, a little more playful than the old Agent Rocker. And this thing really carves up a dream. And as you can see, it's twinish too. It's got a little bit different tip than a tail, so it favors directional riding a little bit more, even though it has a centered stance. I'd really like to see a setback stance with this, because especially with the twinish, I just think they need to go one way or the other. You need to either go true twin or directional twin with the centered stance, or you need to go, just keep the shape as it is and set it back for the average rider. Because I know a lot of companies design the boards around the pros, but yeah, you know, an average guy would love to be able to set the stance back on a powder day, especially now that it's camber, and get a little bit more easy float. Because when you do press down, there's still camber. I mean, it's a camber board, but gosh, it's fun. It's dynamic, it's snappy, it's poppy, it's carvy. It's really carvy for a board with a centered stance. And as you can see, it's got this thing they call quick grip side cut. It's just the subtle extension of the edge in a way. It's actually two side cuts. So there's a side cut here, and then another little side cut here and here. And it gives it a little more grip, and it's a little more fun when you lay it into the snow. It engages these second side cuts. And it's really fun to lay into a carvy turn. So this is not for everybody, and this is old school in terms of camber. You know, there's lots of consequence. It's not for everybody. It sucks riding in powder. It's a lot of work off your back foot, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna, you know, if you can't keep the board planing at all times, you might end up cartwheeling, and that always sucks too. So it's a step back in that way, but it's a step forward in the dynamic carvy feel. I would have loved to have maybe seen the camber in here and go to a rocker here, you know, real mellow rocker here, and have a setback. But you know, that would make it a much more favorable one board quiver. But instead, it's just a really good board for those guys who love to ride with the centered stance, ride regular or switch, see hard to even borderline icy snow. This can handle out there in the East Coast. It holds an edge really well, and it's not grabby when it's soft snow either. So all in all, it's a really fun board, and it's just for those who like to carve, regular, switch, love popping, just love aggressive freestyle riding in and out of the park. Really like going big in the park and riding like, you know, this rides like an all-mountain board on the mountain, except it's a twin, and it's just lots of consequence, but lots of fun if you know what you're doing. Not a board you want to skid your turns with.